Can you show me these workouts?
Sure.
As you can see from the space I'm in, you don't need a whole lot of room to be able to do these exercises. They're incredibly accessible. They're actually scalable with a low barrier of entry, so no matter what level of ability you bring to these exercises, you're going to be able to do them. All right, so the first exercise up here is pretty simple, but it does demand some balance, and it also will teach us a very critical biomechanical requirement, which is a hip hinge. So it's called the single leg RDL. What you want to do is you want to hinge. Pretending that there's a drawer behind you that's open, you're going to close it with your butt. Then you reach forward, but at the same time, you kick back the opposite leg and engage the glute on that side, lifting it up to create a bit of a counterbalance. So your goal is to see if you can get even up to 10 without losing your balance or having that other foot have to contact the ground. Next exercise is something that we call a squat and reach. And what we do is we get down to the ground like this, down to a squatting position, and we anchor our elbows into the sides of our knees, okay? And then from here, we post up on one hand, reach up and rotate, and follow it with your head as you go up as high as you can to the sky. Now the goal here is to try to hold this position for up to 60 seconds. That is what is lost when we get into these chronic positions like this, right? With our devices at our computers, we get to this rounded thoracic spine, this upper portion of the spine. Doing this will give us the mobility that we're lacking. So the next thing is something we call a sumo squat stance. It's a squat stance hold. And it's based off of something called the horse stance, which again, we work on getting hip mobility and hip stability, right? And again, we're gonna still work on the hip in all three planes. So what we do is we get down, feet wide, and squat down into this position here. Now the beginner version of this is to simply keep your elbows on your thighs for a little bit of support. But what I want to see is tall of a chest as I can get, the same way that we just did through that rotation, to maintain that area of the spine, that thoracic spine, and getting extended. Because we know that when that spine is extended, the shoulders will go with it, and the posture will get away from this position and more to this open, upright position. If we don't do it in that beginner format, then what we're going to do is cross the hands over, okay? Get in that down position, reach up and out, okay? That is a 30-second hold up to a 60-second hold, depending upon how far you can take it. The next thing we do is we gotta work on that upper body a little bit. So the upper body, you should still be able to do the exercise that is oftentimes the benchmark for upper body strength, which is the push-up. But we can do it in a way where we get bigger benefits, both front and back side. So we call this a posterior chain push-up. For a push-up, you want those hands underneath the shoulders, okay? I'll demonstrate one, then we'll do it together. You want to be able to push up all the way to full extension. You also want to have tightness through your quads and glutes. So you squeeze your butt together, you straighten your knees out by contracting your quads, and then you get a good firm holding plank position here. Now, when you go down, normally people would stop here or they wouldn't come up all the way. You go all the way down to the ground. At this point, you slide your hands out in front of you, point your toes, keep those quads contracted, squeezed tight, and then lift up into what we call a Superman. Right from here, you're gonna train all the muscles in your posterior chain from the back of your heels all the way up to the tip of your fingers, right? Come down, slide it back, come up into that good firm push-up. Don't lose any of that stability. Come down, slide up, and lift. The final thing is something that looks so darn simple, but it actually has a lot of functional carryover. We're talking about just a side-lying hip abduction, okay? And what we do is we get in this position here. We position our toe down in front of us. So you wanna basically point your toe down into the ground. Okay, from there, you're gonna slide your leg back behind you, okay, as far as you can take it, and then lift up. And right when you do that final lift, you're gonna feel a contraction right here in the glutes, in particular in the glute medius. That's the muscle that's controlling that rotational element of your hip joint and the stability and the strength that's needed to propel your body even on a regular walk without your hips dropping down side to side. You don't want to let that happen to you. You want to be able to hold this position for 30 to 60 seconds. Some of the mistakes people make is in order to feel like they're getting the lift, they'll just rotate their body to let the hip flexor do the lifting. Remember, we don't need the hip flexor to do the lifting. We want the glute medius to do the lifting, so you need to make sure that you're rotated forward the entire time. And that's it. There's the 5 essentials. Quick, simple, and incredibly effective. No fancy equipment, no gym required, just a little bit of space.